Artists, today I'm going to show you a really cool way to make some op art tubes. So I'm going to use this scrap piece of paper kind of as a placemat so that way I don't get Sharpie on my table. But we're going to start by doing some vertical lines, and the lines are going to be kind of wavy, and they're going to go from the top of your paper all the way down to the bottom. And you don't want them to be uniform, and what I mean by uniform is you don't want them to be the same. You don't want them to go to the same direction. You don't want them to look exactly the same. So some might be wide, some might be thin, but you want a variety of those vertical lines. You can even start from the other edge of your paper and work your way down. But you want to fill your paper up with a variety of vertical lines. And you don't want too close of lines together. You want to have room for them because your next step is going to be creating some vertical and horizontal curved lines that connect. The biggest thing that you need to pay attention to is the direction of these curved lines. You need to find a center point, and from the center point, your lines above the center point are going to be facing one direction, and your lines below the center point are going to be facing another. And here's what I mean. If this is my center point, I have an upside down U and a regular U. From the top, these are all going to be upside down U's. From the bottom, these are all going to be regular U's. Now when you do these curved lines, you're going to want to do a variety of thicknesses. So for example, in this skinny line, I can move my center point down. It does not have to stay exactly the same place. I'm going to move this center point down, and I'm going to have these lines be a little bit closer together. Once again, on the top of my center point, those lines have to be looking like an upside down U. And you go all the way up. You can see that these are closer together. And on the bottom of my center point, those are going to be looking like the U. And we're going to repeat that process all the way across. Your center points can be large, or small, and you'll kind of start seeing that it's already starting to create a bit of an optical illusion. But the goal is that you're filling up each of these tubes with those lines. So I'm going to pause and catch up. Once you've filled up all of your tubes, I want you to go back in and I want you to kind of thicken up some of those edges of those borders where some of your lines might have crossed over that center line a bit. And this is going to help those pop out just a little bit more. So some of those center lines where you might have crossed over the edges, we're just going to thicken those up a bit more. And you can kind of already see that this little step is helping these tubes look a little bit more three-dimensional. So I'm going to pause and catch up. And what you have right now is a great base for an optical illusion. And you've got a couple choices here. What I like to do is I like to alternate black and white on these tubes, and I kind of like to do it maybe every other tube to help them stand out a bit. And to do that, I would alternate stripes. So for example, this would be colored in black, white, black, white, black, white, following that pattern all the way up. And then I would alternate. So I would leave this one the way it was, and then I would go back over here to the next one, and I would do black, white, black, white, black, white. and I would do this pattern all the way up. I would leave this one alone, and same thing here, black, white, black, white, black, white, all the way up. I would leave this one alone and do the same thing here, black, white, black, white, all the way up. And that's going to make you have another effect or layer of your optical illusion. So I'm going to pause there.